Everyone, it's Heather. I did totally skip last week, mostly because I didn't really have the house to myself, and I don't like filming when there's other people around. I'm just weird and private like that. But anyways, kind of a new setup. I put a new shelf in my room, and I'm just extremely proud of that. And I got to organize my things, which made me very happy because I didn't have many shelves. Literally all I had was this, which is very loaded back here, and the record shelf, which I have one, two, three, about four cratefuls of records that don't fit, plus the two mystery boxes that I have. So, that one's very overflowed. I actually put my favorite records right here, and I know it's turning into a mini room tour, but this is what I like to call my little library. I took all my old notebooks that I would write in. All of this stuff is the really old stuff. And then there's the more newer stuff. I tried to roughly organize it by when I was writing in it. So I'm very proud that I could have that all together. It just makes me happy in an organized sort of way. This is my makeup. It's all eyeshadow palettes, except these are brushes. I've definitely been getting into that lately. The shelf looks super... I made so much space because I wanted to do things of records, and I might still do that, but I was like, no, I've got all this crap that I have to organize. And then I wanted to do the whole library thing. Yeah, I might redo that, but we'll see. And then my games, I'm so proud of my games. They're so cute. I never thought I would find all of those really awesome old things. So yeah, that's what I got. Anyways, back to what I came here for. Oh yeah, I'm sitting in my beanbag chair for once. I think I've recorded maybe one video ever sitting on my beanbag chair. I never use it. It basically just became a place to put other things. So I'm feeling very good now that I'm organized a little bit. Today, now we're finally getting into the episode, I looked at Monkees on the Line. I gave it an 8 out of 10. So overall, this episode, I wrote this down in the comments, but I'm just going to get it out of the way now. It was really solid. There was zero filler in it whatsoever. It was really well paced. It was just an example of... Well, I just said it's an example of a solid script with no need for filler. But yeah, I feel like at least in the first season that I've been working through, there's just so many episodes with a lot of filler and stuff tacked on the end and extra footage. This one, there was so much going on, but it was organized really well so that it's not losing you at any point. It's just a lot of chaos, but it's easy to follow. I'm just going to get right into the comments. Mike calling out the others for not answering the phone, just because I was like, yes, he has the brain cell today. And it's apparent in that episode that he's the only one with the brain cell that day, and he doesn't share. I thought it was interesting, my brain processing this with the context of what's going on now, with this virus crap going on, but the speech that the lady at the answering service gave about how it was so important and such a vital job, I'm just back in the day that was an important job to do. I mean, it wasn't overly complicated, but when you take a look now at all the people that can't be off work because their jobs are important, like grocery store workers or doctors and whatnot, it is an important job, and it's nice to appreciate that, even though answering services are kind of long extinct by now. There was actually another comment that I wrote, that it was cool for me because that was never a thing when I was growing up. I'm only 21, so I never lived in a world where answering services was a thing. So it's interesting to see an entire episode built around something that doesn't exist anymore. It's a window into that time. Mike is such a highlight in this episode. Like, he has some good lines, he's got some good moments. I love the blue hat, by the way. Like, his fashion's on point. One thing I'd love to emphasize is the delivery of lines. And Michael Nesmith, every episode, he just hits the nail right on the head. Like, he's so good about that. I thought it was funny that Davy ditched Peter at, like, the first opportunity to do so. It was great. It was, like, the least important message ever. And he's like, oh, this might be important, and he just runs. Instead of, giving his easily confused friend help. I said there's so much going on at once. There's, like, a million different... Actually, I think there's 3 different plots going on at once. Like, each of the Monkees, with the exception of Mickey, he's just kind of there. Each of the Monkees has, like, their own little goof up. Mike with the suicidal lady. Davy with the husband and wife. And then Peter with the booking agency. One thing I observed, I thought it was interesting that they could do a whole episode basically revolving around a suicidal woman, or a woman that appeared to be suicidal, but they couldn't say hell on television. Like, you can just pick and choose what's okay? I don't know, I thought it was kind of dark, obviously, and of course Mike is concerned, but it's just like the whole episode, she's like, oh, I'm gonna end it all, and she's got a noose, and she's got pills, and she's got like a knife everywhere. It's like, you're teaching young kids to threaten suicide for attention. Okay. I don't know. Mixed feelings about that one. I'm also just very salty because they couldn't swear on television. So, I don't really think you can get away with that today. I feel like people will be much more sensitive to the fact that there are people out there who are genuinely suicidal, and they shouldn't be. I'm very bad at explaining things, by the way, but I don't know. That was just my little observation. Oh, one more thing that I wrote in the comments before I move on to the fun bits. Where the hell did the giant phone come from? In the romp, there's just this gigantic phone that takes up like the whole room. And like they tie up like the criminals to it. And it's just like, no one addresses it. It doesn't show up outside of the romp. It's just weird, but I love it. Let's move on to the fun bits. I didn't write that much down just because the episode, there was so much plot going on and not as many jokes. I guess that was kind of a drawback to this episode, but it was still a funny episode. There was so many good moments. Peter holding the phone upside down was really funny. Choosing fingers was clever. And I love the way that Mike is like, ooh, I won. The red button, that was really cute. Like, throughout the whole episode, the way that it keeps popping up, it's really fun. Mike saying monkeys are notoriously curious. It was really cute and clever. Peter trying to answer the phone. There was a scene, I think it was the one where he picks up the phone for the gamblers, but he just gets his words mixed up and he's talking for like a solid minute, and it's so funny. Mike's condor impression was funny. He talks about the condors, and then the lady, like, she's got the knife, and he's like, oh, I need that knife. She's like, what for? And he's like, to fight off the condors. I love how he just went off about the condors. And I never really paid attention to that, when I saw the episode before. I feel like I've seen that a couple times, and I never really paid attention to the condor gag. Peter, when he says, I gave it to the Pelicans because I knew they needed the work, when the booking agency, or no, the gamblers were pretending to be the booking agency, and we're like, oh, give the cake to the popsicles. I thought it was cute that Peter was like, hey, they need the work, but at the same time it was just such a Peter moment, because if he had the brain cell that day, he would have been like, hey, we need the work. Let's give the gig to the Monkees. I feel like I should have been their agent, because I'm literally in every episode, I'm like, they could get work by doing this, or they could do this, or I don't know. The romp was really adorable. And the last thing that I wrote under fun bits was Mr. Poopsie. That gave me such a big laugh. But anyways, that is all that I wrote for this episode. It didn't feel like I had much to say, but I also feel like I've talked forever. And one more thing that vaguely relates to the Monkees, but not so much. I uploaded a video to my personal channel, finally, after ages. It wasn't the ones that I was talking about, because I feel like I was talking about, like, the whole, like, makeup videos that I wanted to do that never transpired. I filmed them, but then I was like, nah, they're not good. I didn't have good lighting for it. I was like, that's for another day. I did film a video going through really old drawings, the ones that were, like, I hadn't seen for 7 years. So that was a trip. There's a lot of Monkees in there, unfortunately. It was really fun. It's kind of a long video, so grab a snack if you're interested. There's a lot of me being embarrassed and just totally shitting on my old work. It was really cute to look back on that time in my life. Shameless plug out of the way. That's all I've got for today, and I will see you next week. Bye.